up, DC? You know how this goes. This is your boy, Nick Smith, coming at you. You know, I'm one of the many people who move and operate here in the Fox 5 DC newsroom. You know, I like to kind of give you an idea that I'm going to be talking to you live from the newsroom, trying to see what's happening, tell you the different things that I'm working on and some of the things we have going on behind the scenes here. The whole idea is to kind of keep you engaged and let you know that, hey, we are always on. There's always something happening here in the Fox 5 DC newsroom. You know, it's me. So I'm just getting a little music going in the background so that I can tweet out a link and have people join us and join the conversation. You know how this goes. Right now, we're listening to Simply Red, Something Got Me Started. And we're going to get that Monday started. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit of the screen one more time. And we're going to go live at 12:15 from the Fox 5 DC newsroom. Remember to like and subscribe below. Happy Monday. I'm excited to be here with you, and I'm hoping you're excited to join me. All right, see you in a bit. Hey, you guys, you know I said I'd come to you live about 12:15 here from the Fox 5 DC newsroom. This is Nick Smith at Fox 5 DC. Remember, you can always find me on both Instagram and Twitter at Nick Smith News. Right now, you are listening to a song I used to love. Yes, I am dating myself. Yes, it's a group many of you may or may not have ever heard of because I don't think they're even recording like they used to. But that is a group called Simply Red, and the lead singer at that time was a guy named Mick Hucknall. I thought that boy had the best voice ever. British, you know, those Brits. They sound like you and me, and then when you hear them speak, they come with these accents. You're like, wait a minute, where'd that come from? Where did that come from? I remember the first time I heard Mick Jagger, because you listen to Mick sing, you know, and you're just like, wow, this boy got soul. Wow, this boy got pipes. Wow, this boy can sing. Then you hear him speak, and you're like, wait a minute, what's that? Wait a minute, who is that? So that's one of the things. All right, let's go ahead and get the timer started on this. And happy Monday to everybody. If you're joining me for the first time, welcome. And if you're returning, thank you so much for giving it just one more try, one more try. One of the things I want to constantly be aware of is the fact that the audio indeed definitely matters. So right now, as you know, I'm tweeting out that link to get everything going there and let everybody know where we are. So I've got the link going, letting the team know that we are live and that they can join us. And then I'm going to present my rundown and try to let you know what it is we're talking about today. And let's see here. I'm trying to figure out a couple of things on why we are not seeing us like we usually do. And we're going to find out what's going on here. and I'm going to make sure that it is live like it should be because I'm seeing different things. Just want to make sure you all are with me. And bam. Like I said, if this is your first time, I am coming to you live from the Fox 5 DC newsroom. So you'll hear speakers, you'll see people running back and forth because it is an active newsroom. This is where we put the product together every day. And each day I try to pull in a member of the team with whom you may or may not be familiar. Those who operate different areas and stations behind the scenes, producers, writers, camera guys, sound engineers, mixers. I think it's important for you to get an idea of who everyone is and have them tell you about their job, simply because it gives you a better understanding of how it really is a collaborative effort and how we all work together to put together the broadcast. Now, I can tell you, and I've said this before, and I think it's it bears repeating, that yeah, you see me, you see other people who are on air, but there's so much more that goes into doing what we do than the one who actually appears on camera. And so that's why I like to give a little shout out and a little screen time to my colleagues who operate the cameras, who do the sound, who help us run down stories, track down sources. It is so much more to this business than standing there with the microphone acting as though we move and operate in a silo that it's only us. There's so many moving parts and so many people who help us do our job well. All right, so let's take a look at the rundown for today, because remember I told you how I want to try to present, if this is your first time joining me, I want you to remember to like and subscribe below. But the idea is to give you a general overview of what it is that we do, how we operate, and to remind you that we are always on. I told people when I first started this that I would do my best to join you around lunchtime, sometime 30 minutes a day. A lot of it has to do with what's happening here in the newsroom. There are times I walk in and they're ready for me to go right out the door to start working on a story that a colleague of mine has started to set up or align and get together for a later broadcast, and there just is no time for me to come over, set up, do this. So that can be a challenge, but I really do want to do my best to spend 30 minutes with you every day, because if you can sacrifice the time for me, I'd like to show you that I'm committed to returning that commitment by presenting to you something that I believe is worth your time to kind of listen in the background while you're on your lunch break, or allows you to find mildly entertaining for 25 to 30 minutes a day. So that's my goal, to make sure that you, one, know that we're always on at fox5dc.com. Two, that you can find any one of us, me, Tucker, Fitz, Maureen, Allison, Sean, Sarah, anybody you see on air, you can find them through the fox5dc.com website. You can follow them on any of the social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter. I personally prefer Twitter or Instagram because it allows me to respond and kind of follow the conversation that we may have had. And I'm comfortable with you sliding in my DMs. That's not a problem. In fact, oh, y'all are already blowing me up. Wow, I appreciate that. But I do ask that you keep it clean, because if I can't show it to my mama or my congregation, then you shouldn't be saying it, because I won't say it to you. Is that all right? So if we can move and operate in that, if we can move and operate with those rules, I think we're going to be just fine. But no, I don't mind the casual flirting or things that might be slightly off color, but I just ask nothing too blue, because it is professional, because it is a professional setting. I'm okay with humor. I'm okay with things of a certain political bent, but I just ask that you keep it respectful, because Nicholas needs to remain gainfully employed. Is that okay? All right. Then we are all on the same page. So let's go ahead and look at that rundown and see what's going on today. You're like, Nick, what's up? What's up? What's up? That's what's up. Monday, April 29th, 2019. This is what we're talking about. Oh, don't be taking my rundown down too quickly, Nicholas. You're trying to do this. Bam. Wrong side. Bam. Slow down. We're going to do this with the rundown. And then we want to do this with me in the box with you. Bam. There we go. Told you, still learning the functions of this, but we're going to get it together. Before I forget, yes, I did set the timer. Again, if you're joining me for the first time, we try to do 20 to 30 minutes because I understand that you're on a lunch break and you want to keep it moving, keep it free. So we have about 19:34 together, 19:34. The timer starts as soon as I more or less tweet out the link. so that people can join in, jump out. This is the rundown we're working with today. Just to let you know, we're looking at Monday, April 29, 2019. What's popping? I want to talk about John Singleton. That seems to be what everybody's talking about. That is the trending topic of the day. Seems to be a bit of miscommunication, misinformation, or some people kind of jumping the gun on some things, rumors running amok. I don't necessarily like that. We don't want that to be the case, right? We don't want that to be the case. So we want to make sure that what we're talking about is actually indeed true. So also want to talk about who's in the hot seat. If I can grab one of my colleagues, I try to pull somebody over, have them chat with us for a bit. That's who's in the studio, hot seat. What's up, week weather? Everybody want to know what's going on with the weather. It's definitely cool today. If I see Tucker or Mike, I'll ask one of them to come over and tell us what's up with the weather for the week. And then food for thought. Food for thought. You know, I read an article today that I wanted to just share with you guys and see what you think, because this is definitely going to be a talker, I think, for many. And that's the World Health Organization said today that kids under 5 should have no more than 1 hour of screen time. No more than 1 hour of screen time. Wow. I think that's definitely a talker. You know, it's one of those things where I think people feel some kind of way about always hearing from folks about how they should or should not have their kids holding and playing with different pieces of those iPads and such, you know. So, hey, what do you say? What do you do? What do you say? Either way, let's talk about that. And let's go ahead and get things started with the show today. So I told you how I want to talk about John Singleton, how that had been the thing that was kind of trending. And I just wanted to kind of bring a little bit of perspective, I feel, to this. I had an opportunity to work briefly with John Singleton on a project that was indirectly involved with him because, like many directors, he has a couple of production companies in tow that he works with on the side. And I happen to work for one of those production companies called Tremendous Entertainment. Absolutely fantastic opportunity, time. And then last year when I joined the Fox 5 DC team, I had an opportunity to interview John Singleton, and we talked about his new series, and we talked about him as an artist, and he brought in different cast members. So to know that he is suffering with a health challenge right now really kind of brought it full circle, and you say, wow, this is real. This is someone I know. This is someone who is clearly dealing with a difficult time, he and his family. And a number of celebrities have been really good about saying, hey, you guys, let's send up our prayers and thoughts to John Singleton and his family. So there's been a lot of that, and I feel like the support has been real. So I think everyone wants the best for John. Everyone wants a speedy recovery. But all that to say, it just kind of fell on me today to maybe mention him and talk about him because I know that just recently he was on, I think it was maybe late 2017 or so, because he was on there talking about different shows he was doing. He was on a show that I watched, The Breakfast Club. And, you know, they had a chance just to talk with him and say, you know, John, what's up? What's going on with your projects? Because John has really been doing solid work for a while. Remember, you can like and subscribe below. We can talk about this, and I want you to comment in the chats below. But let's just talk about John for a while. And remember, you can always find me on @NickSmithNews at Twitter and @NickSmithNews on Instagram. So yeah, but today the trending topic for us here, definitely in the DMV and many who have just been following over the weekend, has been that of John Singleton. So as I mentioned to you before, John Singleton was on The Breakfast Club not too long ago, and just had a chance to watch him and talk. He talked about his work, and you know, Singleton right now, what we know, there's been a lot of misinformation, but what we know right now is that Singleton is on life support after suffering a stroke. This, of course, is information we've gathered here at Fox 5 DC Newsroom, because we have covered this all weekend. Director John Singleton is on life support after suffering a stroke almost 2 weeks ago. Now, this is directly from his publicist, Shannon Barr. Several reports that Singleton had died were published online earlier this morning, and fans began posting tributes. But again, his publicist and his family is saying, hey, you guys, that's not true. He is still on life support. and we appreciate the love and support, but John has not died. So the several reports that Singleton has died that were published online earlier this morning are just inaccurate, period. That's just not true. And this is directly from his publicist. Now, Singleton is 51. He suffered what was characterized in court documents filed last week as a major stroke on April 17th. The filmmaker's mother and daughter are currently battling in court over who will assume temporary conservatorship, and that they differ on their assessment of Singleton's condition. I believe this may be where the misinformation is coming from. It appears as though, once again, the filmmaker's mother and his daughter are currently battling in court over who will assume temporary conservatorship, and they differ on their assessment of his condition. Okay, we're just going to pause right there for a minute. They differ in opinion on his condition, mom and daughter, both of whom can be considered next to kin, and needless to say, this clearly creates a challenging situation. So it is possible with two different camps having two different feelings about John. That's where the misinformation could come from. Tell me what you think. Again, slide in the messages below. Like, subscribe, comment below, and tell me why you think that there may be misinformation, because all of this is protected under HIPAA. So media does not have access to anyone's medical records until someone from the family comes out and says, hey, this is what's happening. This is where we are with this. So this information is coming from John's family, and I think that's what makes it so challenging. So John, again, this is John from Breakfast Club. Now, Singleton's mother, now remember, the filmmaker's mother and daughter are currently battling in court over who will assume temporary conservatorship, and they differ on their assessment of his condition. Now, Singleton's mother, Sheila Ward, claimed in court documents filed last week that Singleton was in a coma and is unable to provide for his personal needs or manage his financial resources. His daughter, however, Cleopatra Singleton, disputed that claim and accused her grandmother, of misrepresenting his condition. Now, this is according to a court document that she filed. Now, although they do not have a concrete diagnosis, this is from the daughter, Cleopatra, my dad is progressing every day. He is only medically sedated to keep his blood pressure low and allow the vessels in his brain to heal. This is from Cleopatra. Now, Singleton, John, of course, is the first black filmmaker nominated for the Best Director Oscar in 1991 for his drama Boys in the Hood, and has also directed such other movies as Poetic Justice, Higher Learning, Too Fast and Furious 2, and the 2000 remake of Shaft. Singleton also co-wrote for the FX Network's show Snowfall, which was renewed for a third season. Now, since the news of his stroke, Singleton's colleagues in Hollywood have offered their support and well wishes. And once again, I think that's where a lot of the misinformation may have come from. That in the vein of being supportive and sending positive messages to John, I think that there are those who may have gotten information from two different sources on the state of his condition. So as a result, there are those who have surmised that John may have passed when the family is clearly split on that and not in unison over how they want to give his state of condition. And part of that is because it seems as though there is still a battle over who will control his estate. Preview tonight, I know for a fact, tonight Fox 5's Like It or Not will be lit. Why? Marina is back. Marina is on the show tonight. Britt McHenry, Bram Weinstein, and Jim Loke. So Fox 5's Like It or Not will be coming to you live at 7 p.m. here from Fox 5 DC, where it is live, raw, and unscripted. Jim Loke, Bram Weinstein, Britt McHenry, and Marina Morocco. I'm not sure what the topics are today. They were still working on some of those when I came in, so, and that's subject to change. When I tell you, That's one thing about a TV newsroom. You can come in with the perfect agenda and amazingly well crafted rundown, and it can all get blown up in your face because it is a place where everything needs to be fluid, and the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. And that is nowhere. Nowhere is that more accurate than in a television newsroom. Trust me. You're like, oh wow, we've got this all figured out, and this is going to be perfect, and it's going to be a perfect execution of blah blah blah. And if you think I'm joking, try planning a live shot with either kids or an animal. You can have it all perfect. 5 seconds before that live shot hits, somebody will do something, and you're like, now wait a minute, we just walked through this. What are you doing? So you have to be ready and ready to roll with the flow and go with the punches there. Remember, we talked about this. If you're joining me for the first time, welcome. If you're returning, thank you once again. I am signing into what is called our Bit Central, and it has like 5 layers of passwords that if I don't get exactly right, it locks me out. So give me 1 second here while I type this in. And no, you can't do it early. Why can't you? Well, you can't because it's part of the security protocol, right? So in a perfect world, you'd kind of put in your password and you'd be done, right? Yeah, yeah, why? That makes too much sense. But in today's hypersecurity, and simply because as a media organization, there are always different types of phishing scams and things like that. So what they try to do is make sure that anything that we log into, log out of, is always being accessed in real time, right? So we try to make sure that as we're accessing it in real time, it is not being compromised any other way. So one way to do that is to make sure that we sign in and out of programs as we use them. We were talking about the thing that caused a lot of conversation last week, and that was dating and drinking. Can you date? Should you date? Would you date? Would you want to date someone who does not drink? If you drink, would you want to date somebody who does not drink? And do not let that scowl on my face somehow be read as judgment. Not at all. This was one of our one of our topics last week on Fox 5's Like It or Not, asking the question simply because it had come up. This guy taking a young lady out on a date. They're having a great time. Somewhere in the conversation, she says, oh, blah, 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 yeah, and I don't drink. He comes back to the table and says, hey, it was great meeting you. Here's your cab fare. Go home. And she's like, whoa, what happened? You know, all because I don't drink, you know, this guy is a loser. And we had a conversation about that. I'm going to play a little bit of that for you, and I want to know what you think, and we can talk about it on the other side. And that's the question. Once again, would you date someone who doesn't share your values, doesn't drink? Hey, we can talk about that. Remember to like and subscribe below, and you can slide up in the DMs. But either way, I want you to remember, I am at Nick Smith News on Twitter, at Nick Smith News on Instagram. Let's talk about this from last week's Fox 5's Like It or Not.
I love it. I think that this is spot on, and I love that he stepped up. If he knows it's not going to work, let her know. Just be real and say, you know what, hey, you don't drink. Ooh, bye.
Because if you're a sober person who has a problem being around alcohol, you're going to have a problem being someone, you know, with someone who just drinks 1 glass of wine a night.
I feel guilty, though, if I'm drinking and the other person isn't. You know, instead of getting a scotch, order a light beer, and then, yeah, this relationship's not going to work.
What do you think? I mean, that's what it works. You see, guys felt one way. I applaud him, I think, for being straight up. You know, it's hey, each is, but I think that if you know that this is something you enjoy doing, it could be a challenge suppressing that part of your personality or yourself. Moreover, I'm thinking you'd rather date somebody with whom you can be open and transparent about your enjoyment of alcohol as you would want them to be with you. That's just my thought, but I am a little bit older. I've been doing this a while. feel different. But then again, hey, if it works for you, I'm happy for you. I just want to tell you, in my stage, wisdom, and older years, it is best to be completely transparent about what it is you want. Up front. Don't dilly dally. Don't beat around the bush. But hey, you know what? I like to have a cocktail every night. I would prefer dating someone who can have a cocktail every night with me. And if that is a problem, then you need to go ahead and call a thing a thing. Just that simple. So here's a just to tell you, I just want to look. The show is fun. The show. Fox 5's Like It or Not. Monday through Friday, when 7 p.m. The show is just a fun show. So what we do is we try to find the topics or things that people are just talking about and either discussing amongst their friends. We had last week we had a guy who I think I think yeah, cyclist, and this was Maureen Morocco, Jim Lopez, Guy Lambert, and me, and we were just talking about, hey, when you are cycling, you have a responsibility to obey the rules of the road. And you have a responsibility to obey the rules of the road. And hey, just because you're on a bike or just because you're walking does not mean you get to move and operate with impunity. And this was among the topics we discussed last week. So I want to hear what you think, and we can talk about it once again on the other side.
More tonight on Fox 5's Like It or Not.
Hey, welcome in on this Thursday night. We're going to start with a story out of Fairfax County that has a lot of people talking tonight, so let's fire it up. So over the weekend, a cyclist crashed into a Fairfax Police Department cruiser. He sustained minor injuries. He was treated, but then he was cited and charged after an investigation determined the officer had the right of way. They released a dash cam video. They were doing it to highlight the dangers of being distracted on city streets. Fairfax County PD, though, getting criticism on social media for citing the cyclist. People are definitely split on the issue. Take a look.
He was on the wrong side of the road. Absolutely illegal.
So who better to talk to about this than the guy who covered the story today, Nick Smith? Like it or not?
I think I like it. After talking to cyclists, they believe that they get a bad rap sometimes from many of you who drive and navigate the city regularly, that, hey, there are those of us who do the right thing. It's these bad apples that put a bad spotlight on all of us. So we need cyclists who are not obeying the rules to be cited so that they can bring awareness.
I love that. I love that, they can call their own people out and say, well, hold on a second, because you're putting, like you said, bad rap for the rest of us. Look, I think they're both to some degree wrong in this. It sounds like the cop may have had an illegal turn on red, maybe not doing a full stop. There's a lot of discussion there as well. Obviously, the cyclist needed to be cited. There's no question about that. But the way they did it by putting out that tweet and kind of shaming the cyclist, I think, is what got people talking. And I think that's the problem more so than who was at fault.
They're making an example out of this guy.
Right.
And the question is, was that the right thing to do or not?
I think so. Clearly, that cyclist was in the wrong. If you look at it, he violated the law. He was injured. That police officer could have been injured. Had it gotten any worse? It reminds me of the time when I touched the oven as a kid. Mom said, don't touch it. Had to go to the hospital, second-degree burn.
Really?
Got a bandage, went home, and guess what? Not a Coke and a smile. I got a spanking because I was in the wrong for doing it. This is the same thing. He was in the wrong. It doesn't matter what happened after he committed the crime or the violation. He still committed that violation.
Bob's laying there. Bob, you okay? Oh, good. Here you go.
I'm fine.
No. He rendered, hold on a second. We should say the cop did render first aid immediately, called an ambulance, made sure that the cyclist was fine. But at the end of the day, this could have been far worse. Yeah. And yes, the cyclist was primarily the one in the wrong.
I think what this speaks to, though, is the fact that we focus on distracted driving. And driving only. But you see, when I'm out there walking, I will pay attention to people on bikes who may not be paying attention. When I'm on a bike, you sometimes notice that there are people not paying attention. We all have to share the road. And it just speaks to the fact that this is the direction we're moving in. People are getting rid of their cars.
Exacerbated with the scooters now. Another thing on the road.
We like the scooters, though, don't we, Nick? We love the scooters.
But wait a second. Pedestrians also often think that because they are pedestrians and they've got their Chevrolet legs, that they are always in the right.
Wait, what did you call them?
Chevrolet legs.
Sorry.
If you're in the crosswalk, you have the right of way, but you can't just jaywalk.
For you.
Right, but you just can't jaywalk and think, well, hey, I'm in the right.
No, and that happens all the time.
There's a lot of learning to do there.
My bad.
High school principal coming under.
So talk to me about your Chevrolet legs. I love that. Marina Morago, when I tell you I never know where Marina's going to go with something, we thought that was absolutely fantastic. We just got a lot of feedback over that one from people just sounding off about how they were like also feeling similarly about how pedestrians seem to move and operate as though they don't have to look out for anyone else. And yeah, definitely not the case. I want to know what you think. That's what we do this for. Fox 5 DC is always on. You can always like and subscribe below here on the YouTube channel. I'm going to try to do this, like I said, Monday through Friday, sometime between 11:30 and 1, because I know that that is when you are on lunch, on your lunch break, and you have time to engage with me, because I actually do listen. I read the messages, and I want to know that it's a time that works for you so that you can kind of listen on the go by keeping Fox 5 DC in your pocket. One of the other trending topics, again, we talked about today was the John Singleton. I want to know your thoughts on that as well. We understand why there may be, I believe we understand, we can agree why there may be miscommunication when you have family members kind of battling clearly, legally in court, not kind of, they are battling in court over who has possession over making decisions for John and his finances. And, you know, it's just another reminder that we owe it to our family members to be on top of that so that they aren't put in the uncomfortable position of battling with loved ones over what they think you want as opposed to knowing what you want because you've expressed it explicitly. So I think that we have a responsibility. That's the parting thought. We have a responsibility to unburden our loved ones with the tools they need to make decisions for us should they unfortunately be put in that position, right? Bit of a down note to leave on a Monday, but it's one that is necessary because we never want those we love to have to endure anything more than praying for our speedy recovery, right? So we can alleviate, assuage, remove, unburden them from any of the other stuff. Let's try to do that and work together to make that happen, have that conversation, have those uncomfortable conversations now while you can laugh about it, but you can have a clear understanding of what it is that they want. Once again, thank you so much. There's always so much happening in the newsroom, and I can tell you that starting this, I was ridiculously nervous because it's not a system with which I'm familiar. I was nervous because I wasn't sure what the expectation might be in doing this, and I think we're still learning. It's still a work in progress. I really do enjoy the feedback. I enjoy hearing from you all to know what it is you like and what it is you'd like to see. I understand that you like clips from Fox 5's Like It or Not, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. here on Fox 5 DC, and you can also stream it online at fox5dc.com. I also understand that you want to see more of the social media side and more of the personal side of people as my colleagues move through the newsroom. If they're here and I can grab them and encourage them to sit down with me, trust me, I will make that happen. And I will tomorrow share a little bit of a couple of things that I did over the weekend with friends. I've been working on a couple of projects to try and come up with new and creative ideas that I can present here on both Fox 5 Live and on our other platforms. You know, we're starting a 4 p.m. show in the spring later in a couple of months here, so we're excited about that. And you know, Nick Smith wants a part of that. I personally, you know, if I had my way, I'd be in every show. I'd be in Good Day all the way through. It'd just be my head bouncing around in every show until you're tired of it. You're like, it would be as prominent as that logo over my shoulder. So there you go. Just like Bob's Furniture. You see how Bob's Furniture pops up all the time? But yeah, that's it. Happy Monday. I hope that you will take the time to remind those in your life, as we talked about and we opened with John Singleton. I'm hoping that you'll take the time to remind those in your life that you love them, ask them what they want, and that you'll make decisions together as a family so that those you care for aren't put in an uncomfortable position of challenging what you think the person you lost may have wanted. And I left you there with a little Fleetwood Mac. All right, you guys, thanks so much. I will see you here tomorrow, God willing. And happy Monday. Remember, take time Tell folks you love them and make sure that you have a conversation with them about what it is that they want so that um, no one's left in a difficult position like the Singletons appear to be battling over what they both believe John wants to have done in his stead, since he's unable at this time, according to both sides of the family, to make these decisions on his own. And we will join others in praying for and wishing for, on behalf of Fox 5 DC, I can say this for sure, that he was here in the loft. We all pray for his speedy recovery. All right, thanks so much. I believe that's my 30 minutes. And yeah, I'll see you here tomorrow.